Okay. You sprung it on me like 60 seconds ago, so give me a second here. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the first episode of Cardano Banter. Hopefully, not the last episode. We're a little bit unprepared, but we're very excited about talking about all kinds of drama, all kinds of developments in the crypto space, and some little tidbits of updates about the Midnight Tour. Um, so make sure that you share out this live stream, get some more people in here. We'll give it a second to see. I can't see how many people are joining us. But,
That's fine.
there's a ton of stuff that we're excited to talk about. I swear it's gonna burst out of me. And
Let's start with the tea.
Let's not. Let's do it.
Let's start with the drama. Let's start with the tea because I can't. I need to know.
It's gonna get spicy. It is. It's. My God, I. A lot of this is really fresh. Like with updates coming
as we speak.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to dive into it. Let's go ahead and start with the Cardano drama. I think that's the most fun way.
Exactly. So let's talk.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the whole ZK Fold Phil Catalyst drama.
We'll give some of the background. I'll tell the story, and then we can dive in at various points. Do we want to show the tweets? Let's show the tweets.
Yeah, let's start. Right, Twitter. Hope this works. I need to do it on my screen as well. All right, you sent me everything, right?
I did.
I think so. Oh, my messages are not loading with this whole thing right now. But let's just look them up. Who should we go to? Which Twitter profile? Where do we start?
ZK Fold first. They started this thing.
Let's go. Where's the tweet? Oh, that's already 19th December.
While you navigate and find the post, I'll go ahead and start telling the story. For those
tell a story.
Haven't been paying attention to X, missed these posts completely, or maybe people just hang out on YouTube and they don't know what's going on. But it's kind of wild. So on.
I have the tweet open.
Perfect. So a few days ago, January 19th at 7:57 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or if you're on the other side of the world, it was some other time. ZK Fold went and posted a very public accusation against Phil Desario at Anastasia Labs, accusing him of theft of 217,500 ADA. Now, Phil Desario, as many of you guys might already know or remember, he is the CEO and founder of Anastasia Labs. Some of you guys might remember him as the guy who thwarted the Cardano hacker a while back. And from my perception, like I think that Phil's a hero. So I give him the benefit of the doubt here. I think that he means well. He's well intended, and if somebody's accusing him of theft, I'm very much of the perception that there's another side of the story that we're not hearing here, which we'll get into. But anyways, that's Phil. He was accused of stealing 217,500 ADA from a collaborative Project Catalyst project that was apparently completed on October 31st of 2025. This was the name of the I'm gonna find that Project Catalyst. The name of it was Ncoins X Anastasia Labs Zero Knowledge Proof Trustless P2P Fiat to Crypto On-Ramp for Cardano. I think that's the same proposal. Now, what ZK Fold is accusing Phil of doing is back in November, Phil quietly requested the Catalyst team to replace the wallet that was under ZK Fold's control, and have those funds be deposited into a wallet that was under his control.
I don't think, do you think that, because I think the story is, because they had a split within Anastasia Labs and they had one wallet, and I think they were always like the main proposers on the proposal, and it was always their wallet. Could that be the case? And because they then split up Anastasia Labs, they then created a new wallet and said to Catalyst, hey, put that money into the new wallet, because the team split up and there's members of the team who are now gone who have access to the wallet that is registered with you guys. So please use this new wallet. And they have not communicated that with ZK Fold, because I think they always had access to the wallet as well with ZK Fold.
Are you getting that from the screenshots, or like, how do you know that?
I just remember reading Phil's replies to me. And that's essentially what he said, because because the team split and they didn't want these guys to have access to the wallet that was originally in Catalyst. They just created a new one. But for some reason, I think they never really communicated that with the ZK Fold team. So it wasn't really like a quiet thing, or they're being secretive or anything like that. I just think they did it on every single proposal where they were the main proposer on Catalyst. But it just wasn't communicated.
That could be, as this story develops, it gets spicier, and I know that you're not totally caught up on the story, so it could be, that makes sense to me. That's a completely, I think, responsible way of handling the issue. But weird stuff is happening on the ZK side, sounds like, all around. But we do know that there was a change in who had control over the wallet that was supposed to receive Catalyst funds. So that much we know, that much we can go off of. Based on how the story has developed, it makes sense to me that if how you described it, that the ZK Fold team would misrepresent the nature of what that wallet change was, because the amount of stuff that is coming out, the amount of stuff that has come out in the past, I guess just hour, is scathing. It's concerning. But let's go ahead and keep going on with the story. December rolls around. Without the knowledge of ZK, the funds were handed directly to Phil, quote, on a silver platter, and coming as a complete surprise to the ZK team. So, this is the post that came out 4 days ago. And Phil is being accused of theft in this case. I saw that you interacted with this post, and he replied to you. I made a comment on it, mostly just making fun of it. But at this junction, based on like what we've seen just from this post alone, not including any follow-up from Phil or the ZK team or how this story has developed, what were your perceptions at this point?
I'm going to be honest with you, because I kind of got involved in it a little bit. And I think the point is, I wasn't really happy with Phil's replies, right? I do respect him as well. I do like him. I do respect everything that he has built and that he has done. It's not sort of like a character assassination at all. But I think it was just very weird that my main question was, were they paid, yes or no? And he could not answer that question. However, many people asked that question. He never had a clear answer of yes, they were paid, or oh shit, I forgot, I'm going to pay them. It was always just like sort of explanations. Oh, this is what happened. We changed the wallet. Then it was like, oh, they never contacted us. And then ZK Fold came out with screenshots of them contacting him. And he said, oh, there was never any urgency with this. And it's like in pretty much every screenshot that I've seen, ZK Fold was like, hey, contact us ASAP. How can you make it more urgent than saying, contact us ASAP? And then also the conversation which he kind of tried to deflect was, they made the wallet change in November, and ZK Fold reached out in October, in September, I think it was, in August, and things like that. But at the same time, okay, that's cool, that's fine, but when was the Catalyst milestone submitted and when were they paid? I'm not too sure on that detail. it doesn't really matter when the wallet changes happened. Like you still have funds, right? And what I just still don't like about this whole situation is that he just put out a tweet. I cut yesterday, whenever it was, and he essentially said, well, ZK Fold, whatever they delivered was not good enough. And okay, I don't know. I didn't read the entire tweet. I also just don't have, all the depth knowledge because I'm not a developer myself. But I think regardless whether he thinks it was good or not, Catalyst approved the milestones, and it's not up to him to withhold funding.
Yes.
Because that's Catalyst. And I just don't know, because I still have the same questions. Were they paid or were they not paid? I still don't know because Phil never clearly answered that questions unless I missed something.
It's coming. So here's my perceptions after this post, and it's very similar. Like as I'm seeing the things unfold from just this post, it is, I think, objectively a problem if people did work and they didn't get paid for it. That's a massive problem. Yeah, that definitely falls under the category of theft. If people are putting time and effort into contributing value and doing what they promised that they would do, yes, they should get paid for it. The way that this whole thing was handled, I was just massively embarrassed by, just for the community. This like, for starters, I think it was Cardano Yoda that put out a post identifying the massive, let's say, contributions, or the massive amount of participation that both of these teams have contributed to the Cardano ecosystem. ZK Fold, actually, let me see if I can find the post, because I want to make sure that I get these numbers right.
Okay. Just send the post through. I can open it as well on X, and then we can have a look. Because I think Cardano Yoda, he also said, because he's a developer, right? Like, he knows what he's talking about as well, I would believe. And he said he's just going to look at all the tech stuff, whether what Phil says is correct or not. I just haven't really read the entire tweet. I just read the TLDR, and the TLDR was, what they delivered just wasn't good. Okay, so.
Yeah. I already sent the link to you. It looks like it's the
second
post.
Let me check.
Second link that I sent you. And it's a reply from ZK Fold, but it's to Cardano Yoda's post.
You mean that here's the current status update across all? That's the one?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Let me just switch. Cool.
So for Midgard funding from, I believe this is Catalyst approved funding, or is it Treasury approved? I don't know. For Midgard, 2.16 million ADA was received for the development of Midgard, and that's not including anything else from Anastasia Labs, from my understanding. ZK Fold, as a team, has received 1.16 million ADA, and I think this is specific to Midgard, so this isn't including other Catalyst proposals. Both of these teams have had such a huge amount of participation in the Cardano ecosystem. They've received a lot of money. This level of public slander on both sides is wildly unprofessional, unbelievably concerning. It I think creates a huge rift in the way that the Cardano community is able to interact with one another, the way that we're able to collaborate with one another, and there's a massive compromise of trust. So this is not good any way you look at it. This is not going to be good for collaborative sentiment within the community.
Yep, I agree.
And ZK Fold had responded to Cardano Yoda's post, explaining some of the things that they had accomplished in regards to, I think, various Catalyst proposals, or various Catalyst proposal milestones. And it looks nice. It looks clean. I think what's interesting is the way that Phil responded to, I believe it's this particular post. And I don't think I sent you that link, but let me find that one too.
I don't see him in the responses at all. Did he quote tweet it or something?
Yes. Oh, I did send it to you. It's the last link. ZK Fold had responded to Phil's post.
Yeah, got it. It's a quote. Okay.
Yeah.
I have not caught up on this at all, so you just have to spill the tea.
This is where things get spicy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, I really feel like ZK Fold kind of forced Phil's hand here, because this is also a very public form of slander, but he has to defend himself and explain where he's coming from and why he took the actions that he did. So this is a very long post. I'm not going to read all of this, but I'm just going to kind of break it down here. At least the way that I understand what he's saying. In response to ZK Fold explaining what their progress has been, what they have contributed, what they've done in regards to, I think, this particular Catalyst proposal in question, Phil is basically, from my understanding, accusing them of, in a word, fraud. That the work that was put into the proposal at hand, the one that they are owed 217,000 ADA for, was, he didn't use the word plagiarized, but from what I understand, like it's plagiarized code that was rewritten in order to hide the fact that it was plagiarized, and it was submitted as something that would be useful, that technically meets the milestones of the Catalyst proposal. Phil here is suggesting that what was submitted, what was contributed, is not actually helpful. It's not actually functional. It doesn't actually do anything, and it doesn't accomplish the underlying intent of what the Catalyst proposal is supposed to accomplish. Something here about, like, let me see here. It's there's something in here about a guessing game.
Yeah, it's at the end. Yeah, he starts with this, and then at the end he's like, TLDR, it's a guessing game.
Yeah. TLDR, what do we have for 250,000 ASA? 1, a guessing game. 2, a smart contract that is used to verify the proof that 5 is equal to 5. So telling us stuff that we already know. I think that's what he means by that. And 3, the same guessing game from output 1, but in disguise. He does actually use the term fraud. He says, "This is fraud. I urge the Catalyst team to review this evidence and draw their own conclusions from the above." And he is suggesting that the entire way that this particular Catalyst proposal was handled is a grift. That the non-technical community is unable to recognize that what was produced here is not actually useful, not actually helpful, doesn't do what was accomplished, and is basically fake in order to acquire Catalyst funding.
Mm-hmm. How many technical reviewers are there in Catalyst? Like,
that's
wouldn't
one
you?
of the concerns that Phil is raising. He thinks that there is not enough professional technical reviewers to be able to catch this kind of stuff, and that we need to be able to acquire some in order to prevent fraud, whether this is that or not, from happening. So not enough or none. I'm not really sure how to answer that question.
Yeah, I wouldn't know myself.
Yeah,
But
no, it definitely does bring into concern what I think is a long-standing sentiment in the Cardano community, which is that Project Catalyst is a very, very imperfect system that might be a pretty substantial leak of Cardano funding that's supposed to be used to contribute uh, good things to the ecosystem that might not be.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's a well-known fact, and I think everybody knows this, that a lot of projects and people, they're requesting a lot more than what they would need for their projects and whatever they need to get it done. First of all, it makes sense because you just don't know what's going to happen with ADA, right? If the price drops, you're screwed. So you have to request more than what you actually need. So, and I was talking about this a long time ago. We need to pay in stable coins. You know, it doesn't make sense to pay in ADA. I think personally that is one thing that we need to change to begin with. And I mean, also, which was crazy to see, not going to name any names, but a pretty prominent figure in the Cardano community, I don't know who saw the tweet, openly admitted and said, yeah, I asked for way too much money for what I did, and I know exactly that what I proposed was not needed in Cardano. I just made money, you know? And I think it's an open secret at this point. And so much needs to be changed. And you know, even with the community, a lot of the people in the community, they're not technical people. You kind of see something, you see buzzwords, you're like, wow, we really need this. There's good PR around the projects, and then you just vote for things that might not be needed.
Mm-hmm. Let's sidebar for a second on this topic. When it comes to Project Catalyst, what do you think that the answer is? Like, does the whole system need to be scrapped, or do we just need serious reforms that can fix the system? Is it more helpful than good? Is it a net negative to the Cardano ecosystem? Where are you at on that?
I think it's good. I think we should keep it because also at the moment in Cardano, unfortunately, I think there's basically no projects that are self-sustaining. And that's just a reality that we have. Most projects, they rely on funding because we just don't have the users, we don't have the liquidity, you know, we don't have the trading, we just don't have it. So a lot of projects need the funding, especially when they want to deliver and develop new things. So I think at this point in time, we do need Catalyst, and we do need the treasury and all of these things. And I know people say, oh, you're grifting, but at the same time, it's just between a rock and a hard place, right? You need to fund these people because otherwise nothing's going to happen on Cardano. But I think we need to be a lot stricter with what we fund. And as much as I like the idea that the community is voting for what we want to see, at the same time, especially when it comes to technical things, a lot of the people in the community don't know what is exactly happening. I don't know it. And I basically live on Cardano. That's what I do every single day. And I still don't understand all the technical things or what we would need, right? I'm not qualified for these things. So do I vote on it? Do I give it my ADA? I'm not sure. Do I, you know what I mean? I think there needs to be sort of like guardrails in place to kind of sort of like a last step where there are actual technical people to look at Catalyst proposals and say, okay, this is needed or this is not needed, or somebody to break down technical Catalyst proposals and make them like easy to understand for the general person and be like, okay, maybe we need this, maybe we don't need this. I think we need Catalyst. I just think it needs to be a lot stricter.
I think I'm very much in the same camp. We do need Catalyst. There are lots of projects that rely on it, and if we didn't have Catalyst, the good things that exist, a lot of the good things that exist in Cardano right now would not exist at all. We would be at a much more challenging place than where we're at right now if we didn't have Project Catalyst. But also, there's a lot of problems with Project Catalyst. One of the biggest things, like issues that I've always had with it, is on the voting side. It's so complicated. I've tried to get so many people involved with Project Catalyst, but they miss deadlines when it comes to registering for voting. There's a weird process that goes through having a third-party app that you have to register your wallet for, and maybe you've got multiple wallets that you'd like to participate. Like it would be great if there was like a more clean process when it came to voting, to just do it fully on chain, or not have so many deadlines, or just have it a cleaner process when it comes to the voting side. So I think that's a barrier to entry. There's a lot of ADA that isn't participating in Project Catalyst because of the convoluted voting registration process. And in theory, it's supposed to be simple. That there's a step-by-step process that's like just a few steps to do. But for me, I've had some issues with the app not working at certain points, or something gets lost along the way. It really needs to be like a two-step process.
Yeah.
So there's that on the voting side. Also, I have largely backed away personally from participating in Project Catalyst. I used to be really, really involved in Catalyst on the proposer reviewer side. I think it was Project Catalyst round 8 and 9. I was like among the top 3 proposal reviewers because it made sense to contribute in that way. The rewards were there to where my time was actually being valued, and then they cut the rewards after that, and because of that, I haven't really paid as much attention to what's happening with Project Catalyst. I haven't been as plugged in with the way that it has developed. But this is like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, or something like that, when Fund 8 and 9 was. And
Yeah, something like that.
there's still a massive amount of problems that exist around Project Catalyst. So it's there's been a long time to develop. There's been a long time to address a lot of these issues and more that have come up over the years. I'm not very optimistic that we would be able to, practically speaking, pivot and fix these issues and reform so that we don't get leaks of fraud coming through.
Yeah, I think that the problem is as well, and there's rumors floating around that sort of projects buy their votes, with the whales and everything. And I think you kind of have to sort of like decide, okay, do I want to be 100% decentralized and let these things happen? Or do I want somebody to have a bit more control and step in and stop these things from happening? It's things that kind of we need to decide as a community as well, I think.
Yeah. It's a hard conversation to have because I don't think that there's a easy solution to this. I don't think that even if we were able to agree on or figure out what the way forward is, it's not going to be as easy as flipping a switch. It's going to be it's already been a long drawn out process of figuring out how to make Project Catalyst work, and it still doesn't. We've always been told that it's an evolving process, but at what point do we decide this is a waste of money, we're throwing it away, versus we can actually execute on some of these things. So
yeah, it's honestly, I think the only solution is we say, okay, we give up a little bit of decentralization and our votes as a community, but we get more safety and it just more benefit out of it when it comes to money instead of just throwing it out the window.
You're going to trigger the decentralization mechanism.
I know, it's just going to happen.
Here's the reality though, sometimes even blockchain ecosystems that intend to be fully decentralized in the future, you do have to start with some level of centralization in order for it to be functional. And I think Project Catalyst is the perfect example of how that actually plays out. So I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, it's Project Catalyst. It's the same with the D-Reps and everything else. It's just been so crazy in Cardano figuring everything out because everybody has an opinion. It's just been so much arguing over all of these things. How do you find consensus? And I just, everything is super hard.
Yeah.
And I saw a good leading into another topic that we wanted to talk about is thinking about how difficult Cardano governance was and the constitution and the arguing. It was crazy. And then you think about the Clarity Act, and that's a lot harder to sort out. A lot more people involved, a lot more powerful people involved in the Clarity Act.
That's a good transition, but also I want to finish out this story because there's a couple more posts.
Is there?
There's a couple more. So ZK Fold, in response to the accusations from Phil,
Right, we completely drifted off with like Catalyst and everything, just completely forgot about the main topic.
It was supposed to be a sidebar, but when you stick two people with ADHD on the camera,
Yeah, it's pretty
we go
bad.
places we weren't supposed to.
Right, okay. Let me share the screen again so we see Twitter.
Yeah. ZK Fold. Let me send you this specific post.
You gotta, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So ZK Fold responds to Phil's accusations with a 5-point post about what they actually contributed, that they never had any interest in fooling people in order to get Catalyst funds, and that they did, in fact, contribute something that either works or defending themselves in a variety of different ways. They explained that one, they did meet scope and expectations for the Catalyst proposal. Two, something technical about addressing the 5=5 code oversight. I don't know what that means. I can't speak to that. Three, the capital quiz was not a core part of the Catalyst proposal, and that it was just a bonus that was an added value proposition that didn't need to be included, but they did because they're kind-hearted and contributing. Four, R&D versus commercial product. That this isn't supposed to be a polished commercial product on day one, and it's just supposed to be foundational infrastructure. And five, accountability works both ways. It's difficult to face these accusations when the person making them is ignoring community questions. And this response to me feels kind of reasonable. It seems to be broken down in such a way that I think answers some of the accusations. It's pretty comprehensive, I think, in how it addresses Phil's accusations. But Phil responds, and this is just an hour ago that this took place. Phil responds with a reply, a 4-point reply, that's basically point 1, you are willfully lying. Point 2, again, you are willfully lying. Point 3, you are again willfully lying. And point 4, you have defrauded the Cardano treasury and will absolutely be punished for this. I hope you have lawyered up.
I'm glad he didn't escalate.
Yeah, I'm glad that it was subtle. I'm glad that
I'm glad he didn't overreact with this one.
Yeah, so that's where we're at as far as I can tell.
How did this happen? So it went from, okay, they went, you didn't pay us. He goes, well, your delivery was shit. They go, no, it wasn't. He goes, you're gonna get sued.
You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar, and you're gonna get sued. It's
But like, I have the question: did he pay them or did he not pay them? I still don't know.
I think not. I think that based on what I'm reading here, Phil, maybe much earlier on than this, Phil had determined that what was submitted is fraud, and that they shouldn't get paid for this work because it was plagiarized, because it didn't actually contribute any value, because it was garbage work, if any work at all. And he's withholding those funds, presumably to protect the Cardano funds, to protect the Cardano community from what was submitted.
Okay, that's cool. He gave himself the rights to do so. I think they can sue him over that as well, no? I don't think that's legal. But also at the same time, yeah, I mean, it's their money. I don't care because they got paid out. Catalyst paid the money. He can't withhold somebody else's funds. It just doesn't work like that. And I mean, okay, he has the money, but then the next step is going to be, hey, Catalyst, we're going to send the money back back to you. Like, it's just a hostage situation, you know?
Exactly. Yes, it is a hostage situation. I think where I stand on this, I don't know where to land because, like you, I'm not a technical person. I can't look into this myself and determine that like fraud was committed here, and I don't know. Have I have some sense of respect for both of these teams and what they've contributed and what they've done here, at least to the best of my understanding of that. But I think where I generally land, my holding place, my tentative holding place of where I'm at with this, is that if fraud was committed, if there is malicious action on the side of ZK Fold here, and Phil is withholding these funds for that reason, Phil Desario is such a gangster. Like this is I'm excited about this move if he's like being honest in this, which from my perspective of what I'm observing, I think I lean more on his side in this case, because he apparently is in a position to be able to see things that other people can't see. He's taken a very close look at the code. He has determined that fraud has been committed, and because he's holding this position, he's not taking the funds for himself. He has nothing to gain out of this. All of this drama can only be a net negative for public perception. Now that he's come out from this perspective, we can see everything on chain. We can follow and look at what those funds are being used for and where they're being transferred, and like if he's actually keeping that for himself or if he's just holding on to it and protecting it. So I don't think he has anything to gain here. He can't take the funds now because everything is out in the open, and the only thing left to vindicate him is the determination, that the proof that fraud was or was not committed on the side of ZK Fold. So I think that's where I land. That's where I'm at tentatively. But I don't know. What do you think?
No, you're right. It's a pretty gangster move. It's pretty badass, you know? I don't know. We need an audit or something on this because I wouldn't know. Where are all the devs? Can the devs do something? Just check this out. I need a second opinion.
Exactly. Yes. I stand in the camp that like I have long believed that Phil is a hero of this ecosystem, and I appreciate what he does. And he takes crap into his own hands and just moves and protects the community and contributes to the community. And that continues to be my perception here until proven otherwise. So that's my holding pattern right now.
Yeah. The thing is, there's two sides to a story, right? Did you see the comments from the guys who left Anastasia Labs? Because they also said, oh, Phil also stole money from us. And then Phil came back and said, oh, they're just collaborating because they're coming out with a competing product and now they just want to ruin me. But his ex-employees, they're also saying, no, like I've dealt with this in the past and Phil has stolen money. And I know that I had DMs as well that said, oh, Phil has stolen money. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if these guys are right, if he's right. I just really don't know what the truth is. Because there's two sides to this, right? Again, mad respect for Phil for everything that he's doing. You know what I mean? But it could also be a way out, an easy way out for him to just say, your product is shit, you don't deserve to get paid, and then let's just forget about this whole situation and I'm out of it. And I've fixed it. Done.
That's spicy. That's definitely a different side of the equation. And if a lot of that like comes to light as truth, and if he can't be vindicated in this way, damn, Phil might be in a tough position there.
It's honestly, you just don't know who the bad guy is here, right?
Yeah, and I'm not definitively choosing sides or anything here, but damn, that's
There's always drama on Cardano, eh? It never stops. There's always.
I I really thought that it was going to be just the drama of public accusations and all that, but it goes so much deeper than I thought that it would. We're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out.
I know, because it's also, you know, what I find really weird, if Phil's from the get-go said, listen guys, what you delivered, I just don't think it's good enough. I don't feel comfortable with you delivering this and getting paid for it. Can you please work on this and do something better? But instead of doing that, he ghosted them. And the screenshots are there because they reached out to Phil and they said, please, we need to talk about this ASAP. We need to talk about it. Phil didn't engage with them whatsoever. And then also in the screenshots where ZK Fold said, hey, can you guys pay us? And then Phil, I believe, said, oh, Jonathan is gonna pay you. I think that's his name. And then Jonathan was like, I don't work for them anymore. I don't have the money. I don't have access to the money. You need to reach out to Phil. And then whatever, a couple of months go by, they go again and it's like, hey, has Phil pinged you about this yet? And ZK Phil goes, no, we haven't heard anything. Okay, I'm gonna ping Phil about this. And Phil basically just completely ghosted them. And so I think however you want to look at them, I don't think either of these guys have managed it in a good way. You know what I mean? There is administrative issues on Anastasia Lab's side with the funds. Whether he thinks it's good or not, they dropped the ball. Multiple issues that happened there. And then ZK Fold, I guess maybe they should have been more urgent, more so than just saying, let's talk to us ASAP. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just don't know. I think there's two sides to a story, and I think it's easy to point fingers, but I think probably each of these parties made mistakes.
Yeah, well, that's for damn sure. Yeah. We're going to have to pay very close attention to this story moving forward to find out what's going on, and that could very well be a helpful direction for helping us understand, you know, what we should do moving forward with Project Catalyst, how we should observe and trust either of these teams, either of these groups of people.
100%. Do you think, just got a question, because I don't really dabble a lot into other ecosystems. Do you think people from the outside sometimes look at Cardano and see all the drama and they think, dear Lord, what the hell are you guys even doing?
No. No. I think no. The people outside of Cardano, they see headlines. They will pay attention to stuff that Charles said, but like there's so many different examples of this where you know, people will start to see things when Charles tweets it, but they won't see it when it's just the Cardano community doing it. Like the two examples that come to mind are the Cardano will break the internet trend back in September. Most people don't know that like that was a Cardano community generated trend that Carolina La Petite Ada planned and executed through the Sender network. And the headlines all said that, like, you know, on major crypto publications, Charles Hoskinson says that Cardano will break the internet.
Yeah.
He didn't get onto it until way later.
You know what I think? Like, you know what I think the biggest example for this is the whole damn voucher drama. Remember the voucher? There was like 5 people talking about this, maybe 10, maybe 20. It wasn't a big deal. Yeah. Charles paid a lot of attention to them. He was arguing with them back and forth. If he had just ignored it, it would have never become a big deal. Never. But since he interacted with it, all the major newsletters, all the outlets, everyone picked up on it. Everybody was talking about this because, oh my gosh, how can it be? Charles stole money. That's going to get the clicks up. Nobody would have picked up on it if he had not engaged with it. Exactly. Literally.
Yes. Yeah. And I remember even as far back as the whole pineapples on pizza debate.
I started it. I
created a video about that way back in the day. And like I remember watching Crypto Jeb at the time. That was back when Tim Warren was on the show too. And they were all talking about how, you know, Charles Hoskinson is, you know, started this huge heated internet about pineapples belong on pizza.
Yeah,
And like that was a Cardano community thing.
it was.
Legitimately, yeah,
You know, the funny thing is, like, I kind of started it, and then I was DMing Charles, and I said, "Yo, Charles, tweet pineapple on pizza is the best," or something like that. And then he goes and he tweets, "Pineapple is the root of all evil." I'm like, damn it, why would you stab me in the back like that? I
Trail.
know, right? And then so many things came of it. It was like the pizza club, or the pie. There was like tokens and a whole bunch of stuff. We had meme coins on Cardano before meme coins were a thing.
Right.
Yeah, because the pineapple pizza thing, that happened in like 2021 or something like that.
It was a long time ago. Yeah, so we really do and continue to, as a Cardano community, exist our own bubble. You know, and maybe that's our fault. Like maybe we just like only follow each other. We only interact with each other, and people outside the ecosystem don't like see or pay attention to any of the stuff that we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really do exist in our own bubble, and all of the drama that happens here it's just for us. I don't know. I don't think anybody else sees it.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. It really is a cult. I'm gonna be honest. We're in a cult. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good thing, you know, because people always say, ah, we look really bad when we have this drama and everything else. And I'm just wondering, like, do other people see that? But at the same time, you know, because I don't dabble a lot in other ecosystems, but then sometimes a tweet will pop up, you know, and it's like on Sui, there's a lot of drama and they have all these issues. And then, you know, on Algorand, they have all this drama with their foundation as well. Yeah, it's just this drama everywhere. I think that's kind of normal. I think maybe for us, it's like, oh my gosh, it's really bad. We always have drama on Cardano, but I think it's the same everywhere. Everywhere has the same issues that we have as well. Just in a different font kind of thing, you know what I mean? But still the same.
Yeah, could be. It's a funny world. But hey, we've spent like 46 minutes and we're only on the first topic. So what do we
Oh, really? Okay.
Move on to the next one.
Do you want to talk about the Clarity Act?
Yes, I do. Because it's a huge freaking deal. So let's start with some backstory. As many of us might remember, back in what was it? Not September, like July of last year, the Clarity Act, the good version of the Clarity Act, the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, passed the House of Representatives in the U.S. Before it can be signed into law, an act or a piece of legislation has to be passed by the House of Representatives and also the Senate before it can be put into the executive office and signed into law. So that's where we've been at. We've been in a holding pattern.
Can you just hold a second? Because somebody said your microphone volume is really low. For me, your microphone is on full volume. The only thing that I can do is turn myself down.
Yeah, I turned mine up.
Okay.
Do you hear me louder, or is it the same volume?
I hear you louder. I need to turn my headphones down. I'm not too sure. I hope that fixed it.
It probably did.
Can barely hear him. Can you still barely hear him, or is it better now?
It keeps going down, like on its own, my microphone. What the?
Hello, Huddle Harmony.
Yeah.
Glad he's quiet. Okay, yeah, everybody's saying you're quiet.
Yeah. No.
I mean, the one thing that I could do is turn myself down a little, and then everybody has to turn their volume up if that fixes it.
That could be. I think what's happening is I have my mic sensitivity. My mic sensitivity keeps resetting. Why is it doing that? It keeps jumping down. Yeah. If you could adjust.
Okay. Okay. I'll I keep you up and I put myself by quite a bit. I'm not too sure. God, gosh, this is hard.
I mean,
Because when I look at the levels on the stream, we're actually the same, right? Like we're both in sort of like the orange area. So we're both the same when we speak. Now you're in the red and I'm in the orange. It's all good now?
I'm
Ich habe ihn lauter geschraubt. Got a German comment. I've got a German comment. That's crazy.
Oh, does that not happen a lot?
Didn't know. That's cool. Okay, I hope that fixed it. It should be all good now.
Yeah, if people in the chat let us know if it if we're good.
I think it's good now.
Okay, all right. Let me turn my volume up so I can hear stuff better. We've been in a holding pattern with the Clarity Act in the U.S. In order for things to move forward, both the House of Representatives and the Senate need to sign off on it before it can go to the executive office and be signed into law. The House of Representatives has already passed the Clarity Act as it had been signed, but we've been in a holding pattern with the Senate, who very abruptly, like a couple of weeks ago, made a bunch of different amendments to it. I think upwards of 100 different changes. And a lot of those changes included changes to some of the core parts of the infrastructure. The most notable ones that we want to pay attention to is that the change in authority over who is supposed to be responsible for regulating in the US the world of crypto, whose responsibility it is. And one of the biggest things that the industry has been pushing for the longest time has been that the CFTC, instead of the SEC, would be responsible for regulating crypto. And that's been something that the whole crypto industry has wanted, because we very much recognize our crypto assets as commodities, not as securities, because they have utility, because they have use case, because they have real capability to do something. They're not just for investable assets for a number go up. So that's one of the biggest things. They want DeFi protocols to be regulated just like centralized banks. And that's a huge, massive problem, because that's not even possible in the blockchain industry. We cannot comply with the way that banks are regulated. And they're also managed much differently between DeFi protocols and the way that banks do things with fractional reserve banking. They want, with the changes, they want an all-out de facto ban on tokenized equities, which is something that the original Clarity Act was supposed to have protections against. And finally, what I think everybody else is seeing with the headlines in the news is that the new draft of the amendment would kill the ability for rewards and yield to be generated from stablecoins, from DeFi protocols, from centralized exchanges, and from the ability to use those assets in order to generate some kind of a passive income off of. So those are the big changes that we're seeing, and all of these things combined, especially the reward and yield ban situation, all of these things will make it puts power back in the hands of banks, so that banks in the US are the only ones that can give yield off of their assets. It makes banks more valuable than it is to leverage DeFi protocols, and it removes protections that the Clarity Act was supposed to put in place. I think the only thing left that the Clarity Act, with this new version in place, is that like it still maintains protections for self-custody, but like what value is self-custody if you can't actually do anything with those assets? So I'm very much in the same camp of where Charles Hoskinson is at, based on a live stream that he did. I'm very much in the same camp as Brian Armstrong. He came out starkly against these changes and completely withdrew Coinbase's support for this new version of the Clarity Act, because it's garbage. It's pointless. And I'm glad that dude, Coinbase. Brian Armstrong is my hero. He
Yeah.
really stepped in at the right moment, and because they tried to execute this very quietly and slip it in and move quickly with it, but because Coinbase paid attention, because they watched what was happening, they held true to their principles and their priorities. They withdrew their support immediately and delayed the vote and forced the Senate to step in and make some actually reasonable, meaningful changes. So that's where we're at with the Clarity Act.
Well, I mean, Trump said he wants these things signed as soon as possible just to have America move forward with this. So, I mean, I think crypto has a bit of leverage there as well to kind of get their needs met as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just hope it works out.
Yeah. I'm a bit concerned. I don't know if like other figures aren't paying attention, but I think one of the biggest things, the biggest infighting, I guess you could say, that we're seeing is that Charles on a live stream a couple of days ago absolutely blew up on Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, over at XRP, because Brad Garlinghouse came out with a video in support of the new version of the Clarity Act, suggested that we got to move forward with this. An imperfect bill is better than a no bill at all, and it's oh gosh, it's such a backwards perspective, because the Clarity Act and the version that was submitted recently is completely garbage. There's no point to it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything positive, I think, for the crypto industry, really, in the version that it is. And I think Charles rightfully went off on Brad, because it doesn't accomplish what we need to see. It doesn't accomplish, protections for crypto. It doesn't establish real regulatory clarity. It doesn't allow us to build in what we've been building towards. So I think, Charles is his explosion on Brad Garlinghouse is very much warranted. We're seeing more infighting, I guess, even outside of the Cardano community. But I think it's good.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, honestly, I have not been keeping up with that one. Like all the news that just came out recently, or sort of like the last week, something like that. I just have not had the time to look at it. So you're the one telling everything, telling the story, because I just did not have the time.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. You've got a new puppy that you're taking care of. So that's
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I think, I mean, yeah, my main takeaways from what we're seeing unfold in just the past couple of weeks is that Brian Armstrong is holding true to his principles, really like going out for the crypto community and protecting what we need to see develop in this industry. Charles Hoskinson is doing what he needs to be doing on the crypto side and protecting the industry internally from people that are deviating from our principles and not supporting actual real productive progress in the industry. I think that's a big deal too, and I think this is progress. Brian Armstrong seems to see be optimistic about potential changes, and because of his actions, they're going back and reworking stuff. But I don't know. You might not be like as familiar with the internal operations of the U.S. and like U.S. politics and stuff, but like there's vested interest on the side of banks. I know that you can be very skeptical still about like centralized powers and stuff. Are you from where you're at, like when it comes to let's say the hope that these centralized entities cave and that they give the crypto industry what we need to see, what we real progress, real protections, real regulatory clarity? Are you optimistic about that happening? Do you hope that happens? Where what are your feelings at when it comes to what this progress looks like.
I think this is a necessary step to move forward. You know, we can't keep being sort of like the outlaws doing our own thing. You know, the government will always get involved. Whenever you start something like that, they step in, they regulate, you know, consumer protection, everything else. I do miss the old days. I do miss them a lot, especially now with what's happening. I think crypto generally is maturing. I don't think generally we won't have the, you know, 10x pumps anymore, the moonshots. I just don't see that happening anymore. Yeah, even with Cardano, my honest take on ADA is probably in the short term, we're lucky if it reaches 150 because the market just isn't there right now. You know, the market just is not there at the moment. And I think crypto will just like balance out, level out a lot more now. And right now, you know, you kind of look for things with a good foundation, sort of like the main cryptocurrencies. Everything else, I think that's done for the most part. I'm not. That's what happens when you know the government, the banks, and everything gets involved because they trade against us as well. You know what I mean? And I think you don't stand a chance against any of these people. And I'm not a big fan of the fact that they are getting involved, but I think it is necessary for crypto to move forward.
Yep. Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I think that the attempt to make changes with the Clarity Act is some kind of attempt to obviously, you know, maintain power. It's an attempt to try to slip in and manipulate the situation and try to maintain control over the crypto industry, or you know, at least destroy the regulatory clarity that we had coming our way, so that, you know, banks can stay in power, so that they can, you know, they have the most competitive lending and borrowing products. They have the most competitive financial products that can be offered to American people. And if we can actually make that happen in the US, I think that means a lot for the rest of the world. I think the rest of the world will follow. And yeah,
I mean,
this is a pivotal moment, not just for US.
I mean, it's not like the cyberpunk movement anymore, but I think you need it if you want, you know, grandma from next door to use crypto. That's the way you have to go. If you want mass adoption, that's what you have to do. You know, we can stay the tiny little ecosystem that we are right now and use it the way that we're using it. But if we want to do a lot of the things that we want to do with crypto, that's the way we have to go. I just don't see any other way, you know?
Yep. That's what it is. This is another one of those stories that, like, I'm going to be, it's much more impactful to the greater crypto industry than anything that we've ever seen before. And so, yeah, I'm going to be paying very close attention to this particular story to see how it develops, to see what changes make to future versions of the Clarity Act. And I'd really, really like to see internal crypto industry leaders get on board with that and help pursue progress, because the way that it looks, the way that a lot of industry leaders, not just Brad Garlinghouse, but other crypto figures, it feels like they're selling out. It feels like they're compromising in an effort to be in the in group, in an effort to get political capital and earn some favor with people in power, the people that are pulling the strings behind these Clarity Act changes. So that's what I'd like to see. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, me too, definitely. I think generally just a little sad to lose the crypto that we had, you know, 5-6 years ago. I think it's just losing something that was really, really special, that was ours. And I think that's a little sad. Yeah, crypto was much more fun before governments got involved, you know.
Yeah, that's the story for everything, I feel like. But I'm right there with you, and I'd like to think that maybe we could get it back. I think a big part of the fun part of the old crypto days was that, like, it was ours. You know, we were rebels in the world that was, like, you know, fighting the power and building things that could compete with traditional systems.
I know, right? Like we wanted to fight them, and now we're just getting whipped by them. It's like, damn, man, we're just slaves again,
Hmm.
you know. And now we just have to wait for the Clarity Act and everything else to come through. It's just
Yep.
so bad. You wanted to escape the system just to land in the system again, you know.
Oh, I know. I hate when you frame it that way, but you're so right. It's I'd like to think that we could one day, get back to the old days of crypto, but I think where we're at right now is we're fighting for the right to be able to compete. And maybe once we get past that and we can actually establish some real global institutional and governmental recognition, which it feels like we're moving in that direction. I think we can get back to building for a better world, and things get exciting again.
Yeah, I hope so. That would be wonderful.
Hmm.
That would be really good.
What do you say we transition into our last topic? Because I think one of the big ways that we're building towards that is midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah.
Privacy. Shield it.
So the Japan tour is kicking off in a couple of days here. January 25th, I think, is the first day. And you have landed yourself a position as one of the Night Force ambassador leaders. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You should be
Are
in
you
there as
going to
well.
Japan? Are you going to Japan,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you are?
So, yeah, I am. I'm joining at the end of the trip. So I'll just be
Okay.
in Tokyo for a few days, and then we're heading to Hong Kong for consensus.
Hmm.
So yeah, they kind of just divided us into three groups, you know, so that just makes more sense because it's a very long trip, but when you add consensus as well at the end. And so I'm in the last group. So yeah, I think I'm
Okay.
leaving on the 5th of February, just before
Okay.
consensus.
Okay, so you've got a little bit of time. All right, that's cool. Give us a breakdown of what the point and the mission of the Japan tour is. Why is this happening, and what's going to be accomplished there?
I think generally Charles has a very close relationship with Japan, and so does Cardano. You know, more than half of the ADA that is out there is in Japan, still to this
Mhm.
day. You know, they've been very early supporters. And I do understand why Charles kind of has that connection and wants to go back and be like, hey, I've got a new product, you know, how do you feel about this? Because they already supported him with Cardano. And so there's a lot of Cardano holders, ADA holders there. And I think, you know, it just makes sense to say, hey, you know, Cardano is going to benefit from Midnight. Do you want to check this out? Do you want to look at it? And I think for us ambassadors, the main point is just kind of get together because it's more just, you know, getting to know the community, shaping the future of Midnight, and kind of, I don't think it's going to be sort of like, even the events say this is not like a sales pitch or whatever it is, you know, it's just kind of coming together as a community. I think there will be a couple of workshops for the Midnight ambassadors, or Night Force, that's what they call them, to kind
Mhm.
of see how we're gonna work with this and what we want to do. And then obviously I think Charles will probably talk to some Japanese investors, maybe some of the old ones, and just do that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It appears to me that there's quite a few developments, quite a few partnerships coming up too. So maybe a lot of that stuff could be presented. Also, do you know if Google is going to be coming on this trip and
I don't think
presenting
so.
anything during the tour?
I don't think
Not
so.
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but I doubt it. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because it's not really I don't think it's going to be so much of a presentation as it is to just get the community together. I'm pretty sure
Okay.
Charles will be on some side quests, but I
Yeah.
think we as a community and ambassadors, it's just going to be community events rather than a conference. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that
Yeah.
was kind of my perception of like what it would be like. I have no clue like what the environment is going to be like, but I do know that there have been quite a lot of developments that have been popping up on Midnight's feed. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm seeing stuff get announced just about every other day. Night just got listed on eToro, which is a pretty huge deal. That's a good, strong, like public platform in the US.
They started, they had so much energy, you know, they were so enthusiastic, they worked on so many things, they were at every event, they had the bus, they had so many things, so many creative things. They're really pushing forward, they're having partnerships, and I'm pretty sure during the Japan trip and Hong Kong there's going to be so many announcements. And it's actually, I think Midnight, I know that people, they're kind of, so many people are mad. Oh, Midnight is taking away from Cardano and people are going to sell their ADA for night. But it's just Midnight is such a huge benefit to Cardano. And I think as an ecosystem, we really need a win. I want us to have a big win because I think, you know, everybody is kind of like exhausted. We haven't had anything like really good in a long time in Cardano. And I think this is going to be really amazing if we kind of embrace it and say, okay, let's give this a chance and let's go with this and hopefully good things will happen. And I see the team, I see how enthusiastic they are and how much they're doing in terms of partnerships and everything else. And it is the thing at the moment, you know, ZK Cash is ripping and everything is going up and privacy is a new thing. And I think Charles had a really good idea with Midnight. And I know he started working on it about 5 years ago because I was there in Edinburgh with him when he announced it. It was about, no, it wasn't 5 years ago. It was in 2022 is when he announced it, and they started working on it a while before that as well. And even back then, he kind of sort of like saw that happening, that privacy is going to be important at some point in time, and they just came out at the right time, which is crazy to think, you know, just to have the vision of that and start working years in advance, and then just be here at the right time. It's pretty good. And I think also for Charles, I know that he works really, really hard on Midnight, you know, stepping away from X and focusing more on these things and things that really matter. I think it's going to be really good. And I'm very excited to see what partnerships they have, what else they're going to accomplish. And I'm very excited for Cardano as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm very much in the same boat. Ever since Charles announced it, I think it was, yeah, like about 4 years ago. I've been raving about it ever since then. I've said, I think on multiple of my own videos that I do believe that Midnight is one of the greatest, most impactful technologies of the 21st century. When combined with blockchain technology, it enables so much more access to tens of trillions of dollars of global markets that we couldn't access before because of the lack of privacy on blockchain technology. And you're absolutely right that it is a major hot narrative in crypto right now. You know, not just Midnight, but privacy in general. And it's one of the top three things that I'm seeing as the major bullish things for Cardano. Those top three things are Bitcoin DeFi, which I think still has some maturing to do, and a lot of people have lost hope in that. But I think there's still a lot of headway to do there. Ouroboros Laos, which is seeing some pretty phenomenal progress, and they're giving updates on a monthly basis, and Midnight, which seems to be the big popular one right now that people are actually getting on board with. As I was auditing Pete's channel the other day over at Learn Cardano, and I'm looking at his videos and I'm seeing interviews that he's doing and Cardano videos and Midnight videos, and those videos are getting like multiple times more views.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. They did a great job. I mean, how many airdrops were there and how many ecosystem? 8, 9? Something like that? Blockchains?
Something like that. Yeah.
Great job. I think somebody's also asking or saying hopefully we get more stablecoin liquidity as well in the comments. And I think honestly, when I look at Cardano right now, and I've done some research on other blockchains in this last couple of days, because I kind of wanted to do a video series on, okay, you know, 2026 roadmap for a whole bunch of different blockchains and kind of see what they're building. And honestly, after seeing everything, I'm super excited for Cardano because I think compared to every other blockchain, Cardano really does look the best, to be honest. You know, we have the stablecoin liquidity that is going to happen. You know, we still have the 50 million proposal through the Treasury, which we're still working on. It's just been so crazy and there's so much going on. And now we just put out the proposal for the legal stuff so we can pay for lawyers and everything else, because it turned out to be so much more complicated and difficult than what we ever thought. You know, I kind of thought we are going to start this project with the, I don't know if you heard about this, the 50 million stablecoin liquidity proposal that we put out.
Mhm.
I thought this would have. I really underestimated it, And then it's like one thing after the other, and then you need legal, and then this, and then it's a lot of politics, and then you're kind of trying to, negotiate with the founding entities and everything else. But we're getting there. So hopefully we get the funding to get set up all the legal framework and everything. So hopefully we can push that and kind of start there with 50 million and then see what else we can do. And because we need it for everything else, we need the main thing that we need is liquidity and stable coins. We need it for Bitcoin DeFi. We need it for Cardano. Literally, that's the main thing. Right, and I think Bitcoin DeFi is going well as well. I know Fluid Tokens, they're working on it, and I like the way that they plan to do things, and they're very community focused, and they want to work with stake pool operators and everything else. So all the transactions that are going to happen are going to be funneled through stake pool operators, whereas IOG, they do not want to do it like that. I'm not too sure if that's like confidential. I don't think so. But anyways, they don't want to do it like that. They have a few different ideas. But it's great. You have different teams working on the same thing, and then you kind of see what's going to be the best, right? But they're definitely working on this. And then tier one stable coins, that's going to happen. We have oracles. We kind of were really set up with everything that we've got planned for 2026 because we get everything that we're still missing. And compared to all the other ecosystems, I kind of feel like it's looking really good for Cardano,
No, definitely. I know that there's a lot of harsh sentiment in the markets right now, generally speaking, around crypto, but it feels like a lot of Cardano people have lost a ton of optimism. But like as I'm observing things, we know what all of our issues are. We know what all of our problems are. Just like you laid out, stable coin liquidity is a massive thing. They need to getting tier one stable coins involved in the ecosystem. We need to pursue that direction as well. Major oracles, that's a huge thing in order to get DeFi, generally speaking, in the Cardano ecosystem to be stable and reliable and connect with stuff outside.
RWAs is another thing, and I would love to see more RWAs on Cardano because I also think that is the way to go. Amazing. Yes. I want it. Okay, I want it on Cardano. So oracles, done, right? You can build on top of it. Get RWAs.
Linda wants it. We need it.
We need it. I want it. We need it. Right
now. and these are things that we're aware of, we know what we want, we know what we need, we're pursuing all of these things, and other ecosystems, I don't want to step out and talk too much trash about them, but it does really feel like a lot of other ecosystems sometimes aren't even aware of their own issues. They deny them, they skirt around them, and some of them aren't even really fixable. Some of them are just legitimate, fundamental technological issues that you have to rewrite everything for if you really want to see it get fixed. So I'm actually really optimistic about the positioning of where Cardano is. Yes, there are a lot of problems. Yes, we have a long way to go, but we know what those problems are. We do know generally how to fix and address these issues. And once we can tackle them, we'll be at a phenomenal place. We'll be, dare I say, use the word perfect, but
literally perfect. Holy, so perfect. Literally.
All right. Okay. I regret picking that word, but you get what I mean. We'll be at a very strong position from an institutional perspective, from a reliability perspective, from a consumer end perspective, just infrastructurally, fundamentally. I feel
psychologically, mentally, we're just gonna
stop making fun of me.
As much as I love Charles, I think he's amazing. He's a great guy. It's also going to help that he kind of stepped away from X a little bit as well.
He tried to do it before, and I agree with you. I think he realizes and he knows that him being in the limelight, him being at the forefront of things, people still call him. I watched a altcoin daily video a couple hours ago that said CEO of Cardano slams Ripple. He is not the CEO of Cardano. I'm the CEO of Cardano.
So am I. Everybody is.
Yeah, exactly. He's the CEO of IO, which is a separate company, and I think he realizes that that perception of him as the CEO of Cardano is harmful for what Cardano actually is. It is in very many ways properly decentralized and is not owned by any one person.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. I think that it's a positive thing for the way forward for Cardano that he's kind of step back and being a little bit
Yeah.
less.
And he'll do much better work as well, because then he doesn't, waste all of his bandwidth on all the drama on Twitter, because it just drags you down. You know what I mean? You can't be on Twitter all the time. It just drags you down psychologically. You can't be at your best when you surround yourself with negativity all the time. It just doesn't work like that. And then he can just take that bandwidth and the energy and put it into other things. Because he does spend a lot of time on X. Honestly, he sees all the comments. He sees everything. I don't know how he does it, but somehow, so I think it's a good thing. It's also a good thing for him. It's a good thing for us. And overall, honestly, if we can pull off everything that we've got planned for 2026, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be insane.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, with that, I think we did a pretty damn good job for no prep time.
Yeah. I was like, before we started this, I'm like, I'm not prepared. My brain is empty. I don't have any questions. I don't have anything. I'm just like, let's just YOLO. Let's just get into it and start chatting. But I mean,
I thought that we'd go for like a half hour or something, but
how long has
an
it
hour
been?
and 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. It's been a good chat.
Yeah. Yeah, not bad. Only 3 topics too. So.
Yeah, it would be good because that's what I said to you. It would be good to kind of just do it once a week and kind of just sit down and chat about what happened on Cardano, chat about the news, the drama, the gossip, everything else, and kind of just have a little recap of the week. I think it would be quite nice.
Yeah. No, I'm down. I think this went really well. This was a whole lot of fun, and I think we should keep doing it. But
Yeah.
I'll let the people decide if they think that they like this format, if they like what we did here.
I mean,
so
how many watches do you think we have on X? Right. I don't know about YouTube.
I've been monitoring it, so
Yeah.
I actually know. Yeah.
Right. For me, it's like 660 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, 660 plus, which is pretty good for not announcing anything and just clicking live and going. So
it's insane.
Yeah,
I actually
feel pretty good about it.
I was like, honestly, I thought when I started this, I thought I would get like, I don't know, one viewer and then he would just click off.
Yeah.
The 5, what is it, 600? It's crazy. I would have never thought. Crazy.
Imagine what we could do if like we announced it and like people were expecting it and they showed up. It'd be a lot more. Yeah.
Probably if we do it weekly, it's going to be really good.
And we'll figure out smoother ways to intro us and to outro, because at this moment I don't know how to end, how to say goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
To all 600 of you, you're wonderful people. Thank you so much for tuning in, each and every one of you. Shall we end it here?
Yeah, I think that's the way to end it. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks. Bye.